The sun hung like a white coin over Dustwater, Arizona, the kind of heat that makes the air feel thick enough to chew. Main Street was a single strip of cracked asphalt, one blinking stoplight, and a store with a hand-painted sign, Kaiser's Curios and Treasures. Inside, Leonard Harris stood on the balls of his feet, 87 years old, spine curved like an old mesquite branch. His fingers, thin and trembling, finally closed around the thing he had come for. A delicate glass cup, hand-painted roses faded to the color of dried blood, gold rim chipped in exactly the same place as the one his wife had dropped the week before she died. He had saved $43 in ones and fives for 6 months. It was enough. It had to be. He never saw the teenage clerk backing toward him with an armful of boxes. The cup left Leonard's hand in perfect, terrible silence. It turned once in the air, catching the light like a falling star, then shattered across the floor into 1,000 bright pieces. The sound it made was louder than gunfire in the small store. Travis Kaiser filled the doorway like a storm cloud wearing a polo shirt. 42 years old, 280 if he was a pound, neck thicker than most men's thighs. His eyes went straight to the old man on his knees trying to gather the shards. $280, Travis said, voice flat. Pay it or get out. Leonard's voice came out small. It was an accident. I have 43. He never finished. Travis's hand shot out, closed around the front of Leonard's shirt, and lifted. An 87-year-old man came off the ground as easily as a child's doll. Leonard's worn shoes scraped across the floor, then across the threshold, then through the air. The gravel parking lot rose up and punched him in the palms, the knees, the pride. His WWII veteran cap spun away like a lost bird. Travis stood over him. "Don't come back!" He turned toward the door, and the world changed pitch. It started as a vibration in the soles of Leonard's broken shoes, grew into a growl, then into a roar that rattled the loose change in Travis's pocket. 6 Harley Davidsons crested the rise at the end of town, riding 2x2x2, chrome flashing like drawn steel. They rolled into the lot slow, engines popping and snarling, and formed a perfect half circle around the scene. The silence that followed was heavier than the heat. 6 men climbed off their bikes. No colors on their backs today, just black leather baked soft by 1,000 highways, beards going gray, eyes that had already seen every version of ending this life has to offer. The tallest, a white-bearded mountain with a cross inked on his neck, took 1 step forward. "Somebody," he said quietly, "want to tell me why an elder's bleeding in the dirt?" Travis tried for bravado. It came out a croak. "Private property. He destroyed merchandise. I removed him." A giant of a man, they called him Tiny because the nickname had stuck since he was 12, knelt beside Leonard, lifted him to his feet like lifting a sparrow, and brushed the gravel from the sleeves of a jacket 2 wars old. "You all right, Pops?" Tiny asked, voice soft as flannel. Leonard's lip trembled. "He threw me out like trash." The word hung in the air and caught fire. The bearded leader walked forward until the bill of his cap nearly touched Travis's forehead. "You put hands on a World War II veteran," he said, "over a cup." Travis opened his mouth. Nothing useful came out. 6 men moved at once. Not rushed, not angry, just inevitable. They formed a wall of leather and scar tissue between the bully and the old man. Travis tried the sheriff threat. The leader smiled the way winter smiles. "Son," he said, "every one of us has done time for worse things than teaching respect. We're not afraid of cages. We're afraid of dying cowards." Travis took 1 step back. The silent one with the long black braids simply placed a palm on the door frame. The door stayed open. The bearded leader turned to Leonard. "Sir," he asked, "may we handle this for you?" Leonard looked up. 6 giants stood between him and the rest of his life. Something inside his chest that had been broken for decades cracked open and let the light in. "I never had sons," he whispered. "But if I did, I'd have wanted them to look exactly like you." The bearded man nodded once. "On your knees," he told Travis. Travis tried to run. Tiny caught him by the shoulder and lowered him to the gravel as gently as setting down fine china. Only the gravel wasn't gentle at all. What happened next was short, precise, and quiet. No yelling, no showboating, just the calm, practiced delivery of a message that needed delivering. When it was over, Travis lay curled on his side, blood in his teeth, crying like the child he'd pretended the old man was. The bearded leader crouched beside him. "Lesson 1, he said. Never touch an elder. Lesson 2, you're replacing what you broke with interest." He reached into his vest, pulled out a fat roll of hundreds, peeled off 20 bills, and tucked them gently into Leonard's shirt pocket. The other 5 men did the same, one after another, until Leonard's pocket bulged with more money than he'd seen since Eisenhower was president. Leonard stared at the cash, then at the 6 men, tears cutting clean lines down the dust on his cheeks. "Why?" he asked. "You don't even know me." Tiny wiped his own eyes with the heel of one massive hand. "Because somebody once did it for us, Pops," he said. "Chain's gotta keep going." They lifted Leonard onto the back of the lead bike like he was made of blown glass, wrapped his bleeding hands in clean red bandanas, and fired up the Harleys. 6 engines caught in perfect sequence, a rolling thunder that made the store windows shake. They rode him 37 miles through the cooling desert. Leonard's thin arms wrapped around a stranger's waist, the wind wiping 70 years of loneliness off his face. At his little trailer they carried in groceries, fixed the porch step that had been broken for 3 summers, drank coffee with him until the stars came out, trading stories of beaches and bombs and boys who never came home. When they left, the bearded leader hung a small wooden plaque he'd carved himself on Leonard's front door. It read, in simple block letters, "Protected by the Iron Saints." A year later, the store on Main Street had a new coat of paint and a new sign. Veterans Rest Coffee House. Free coffee for any vet, forever. Travis Kaiser worked the counter every Saturday, head down, hands steady only when they poured coffee, voice never rising above a respectful murmur. And on a quiet porch 37 miles away, Leonard Harris, 89 years old and straight-backed for the first time in decades, still smiles every time he hears the distant thunder of 6 Harleys passing through town. He knows angels don't always wear wings. Sometimes they wear leather. And sometimes, when the world needs reminding, they stop for a broken cup and an old man who still remembers how to stand tall.